Myth number 1, you need a 20% down payment to buy a home.
Oh, I wish Sly was here for this one. Okay, so the concept of needing a 20% down payment is primarily there to avoid having to pay what is PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. So spending a little bit more money to save a little bit more money on like your monthly payment. It exists. It's never a bad idea if you have the money to put down more for your home, for sure. You do not have to by any means. There are several programs that exist that you can get you down as low as a 3% down payment.
Yeah, and there's like even a 3% conventional. You don't have to go FHA. We know Sly's got 3% conventional products.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're VA, what can you do?
You can do 0%.
You can do 0%.
Absolutely. This is one of the reasons why I always tell people, talk to a lender before you start your process at all, right? Because if you're sitting at home and you are waiting and you are saving and you're scraping together. When I was buying my first home, I literally had a change jar where I would throw all of my spare change in just to try and scrape up all the money I could together to get started in my home ownership journey. And that was a good idea. However, if you can have a conversation with a lender early on, they can put you on to some of the programs that exist so that you are not sitting on the sidelines waiting quite as long because maybe you didn't need to save as much money as you thought you did.
Exactly. We run into that all the time. People spend 5 years, 10 years, like I'm just saving for a down payment.
Because they assumed that they had to.
Right. And meanwhile, they missed 5 to 10 years of equity potential. They get in so late in the game, especially now with prices that they are the way they are. But not just low down payment. There's programs that will even give you money for the down payment.
Yep.
Things that some of them you don't even have to pay back
Absolutely.
if you live in the house long enough.
So total myth.
Total myth. Okay, we're going to go on to the next one, that you have to have perfect credit to buy a home.
You need to have perfect credit to buy a home. You do not need to have perfect credit to buy a home. Obviously, you want to do everything you can to improve your credit before making any large purchase that's going to require you to pay interest on. And again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Talk to a lender early. Even if you know your credit's not great, talk to a lender early. They can give you advice and tips on how to improve your credit to get you where you need to be if you're not currently where you need to be. But again, a lot of times people really just assume that it's impossible for them because of X, Y, and Z circumstances, whether it be that they don't have a lot of cash or they don't have perfect credit, and they tell themselves no before even giving themselves the opportunity to try. And it just might not be the case. I mean, you could speak to a lender and find out that it's completely possible within your current circumstances. And if it's not, they can give you tips on how to get there.
Excellent. I give you a 10 out of 10 on that answer. Let's say next myth, best time to buy a home is springtime.
Best time to buy a home is springtime. So you're going to see a lot more inventory in theory in the spring, although I wouldn't say that was true this year, would you?
No, definitely not.
I'd say there was more in the summertime this year than I saw in the spring for sure.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of different strategies involved with buying. I mean, you're taking into consideration what does your competition look like, right? So if you're buying in winter, for example, which is when I purchased my first home, we had no competition. There was no one else looking in the dead of January to buy a home and move in 6 feet of snow that summer or that winter. So no, it's not necessarily going to be the best time to buy a home. It's really just going to come down to what your goals are and what your professional realtor suggests for you to do based on what your individual goals are.
Yeah, your individual goals and the data as it exists. And you say it all the time. The best time to buy is when it works for you. I would say probably it's a true statement for the sellers. Usually better to sell in the springtime because the most buyers are out there, and that's good for a seller.
Yeah.
But having more buyers as competition, as you mentioned, doesn't always lead to the best outcomes for you. And we had, I remember one time we listed a home on the day before Christmas Eve. And it was funny because we were just playing around. We weren't expecting a lot of buyers to come, so we made a joke and we advertised it as definitely not haunted. It's definitely not haunted. And in one of the photos, even put an apparition in the photo just to be funny. And it wound up selling on Christmas Eve.
Beautiful.
Right? But there was a buyer looking. They saw something that was perfect for them. They really had to have a house that was not haunted, and it was just perfect timing.
Great.
Sorry.
Beautiful.
Okay. I think we got time for one quick more. You should renovate your home before selling.
You should always renovate your home before selling. Is that the myth?
Well, it's not
just you
stated
should?
there. You should renovate. Should kind of is almost a shall, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
that's what the myth is. You should renovate your home.
Okay, so listen, I actually just had this conversation earlier today with a client that I'm working with. You can always spruce up your home for sure. And if you ask really any realtor, what can I do to get my home to sell for more? We're going to have a list. And if you want more, we can give you more. There's always going to be things that you can do to try and get more money for your home. However, not everything is going to have an immediate return on investment. Not everything is going to be worth the money that you're putting in or the time that you're putting in, depending on, again, what your individual goals are for your sale. So yes, you can always do things to spruce up your home. And of course, you want to be able to present your home as positively as possible to elevate your sale, but you don't have to renovate your entire home before selling.
And that would be another question I think you should ask your professionals is, based on the data today, based on the number of homes available, based on the number of buyers in the market, does it make sense to do a renovation and then will I get my money back? Or will spending money on a renovation and spending time on a renovation put me past the best time to sell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Christin, thank you very much. Those are
Of
some
course.
great points, and we're going to head to a break. We'll be right back.